Now, this is something I'm willing to pay. Ladies and gentlemen, Keyshawn Davis versus Devin Haney. Perfect fight. Keyshawn Davis calls out Devin the Dream Haney while Devin Haney is seeking for an opponent. Now, you already know that Devin Haney became a 3-division world champion by beating Brian Oman Jr., stepping up to the 147-pound division, in which many felt that it was a dangerous fight. But me, Punch Drunk Boxing, that understand the sport of boxing, follow the amateurs and stuff like that, and follow the details, I always say that Brian Oman Jr. was the most manufactured fighter in the sport of boxing. Not taking anything away from Devin Haney, but just acknowledging it to the boxing world, in which they was all hyped because they just didn't study it, didn't really know who Brian Oman Jr. was. He was the most manufactured fighter in the sport of boxing. Now, Keyshawn Davis, an Olympian. Keyshawn Davis, amateur pedigree in the professional level, also became a world champion and lost it because he came overweight and stuff like that. Okay, unprofessionalism and stuff like that. It happens in the sport of boxing. Even Shakur Stevenson came overweight, right? Even Manny Pacquiao came overweight. There's a lot of fighters that have came overweight and stuff like that, but you know, it is what it is. It's a learning curve. And Keyshawn Davis versus Devin Haney, for me, is more credible than Devin Haney versus Brian Oman Jr. because it's just Brian Oman Jr. Keyshawn Davis got the, again, Olympic pedigree, became a world champion. He could be daring to be great and stepping up to fight Devin the Dream Haney, in which he called him out. And the reason why I say that Turki Alalshikh, it's a fight that he's willing to pay. Turki Alalshikh that's done a wonderful job. I remember when Teofimo Lopez was on the phone with Turki Alalshikh, and Keyshawn Davis was next to Turki Alalshikh, and Turki Alalshikh told Teofimo Lopez, "What are you to fight Keyshawn Davis?" Keyshawn Davis said that I will fight Teofimo Lopez for the same amount of money that Teofimo Lopez was supposed to be getting versus Jerome Boots Ennis, in which Jerome Boots and Teofimo Lopez was supposed to be paid $11 million, and that didn't come through fruition because Jerome Boots Ennis, he avoided the Teofimo Lopez fight like he avoided the Virgil Ortiz fight. Y'all remember that's the fight that that's the tournament that Turki Alalshikh had in mind. Y'all remember that it was supposed to be Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero and Devin Haney versus Jose Ramirez, and then they go and fight their rematch. And then Teofimo Lopez fought Arnold Barbosa, and he was supposed to fight fight Boots after Boots take care of his business, right? Boots Ennis. That's the reason why there was a lot of frustration with Teofimo Lopez, because of Jerome. He wanted to dare to be great, move up to fight the welterweight champion, the welterweight Ring Magazine champion, lineal champion, right? Just like Devin Haney went up to fight a champion and a belt holder in Brian Oman Jr. So now Keyshawn Davis is going to do the same thing, and they have history going back and forth, talking trash and stuff like that. I think it's a credible fight. I think stylistically it's a good fight. You know what I'm saying? Keyshawn Davis, boxer, puncher, athletic. And think about this. If Bill and Devin Haney was calling out Gervonta Tank Davis at 135-pound division, in which we all know that Keyshawn was going to move up to the 140, and now we're going to move into the 147-pound division. Devin Haney just moved up to the 147-pound division, so that's good. They calling out Gervonta Tank Davis. We know that Tank is a wonderful, skillful fighter. You know, you can't take nothing away from his skill set. But Gervonta Tank Davis do not want to get in the mix. I don't even know why Bill Haney will call out Gervonta Tank Davis right now, even though that's a fight that we've been talking about in years past. But Tank ain't about that. But I know why. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you like this, if you don't understand the deals with Turki Alalshikh. Devin Haney probably signed a 3-fight deal, right? With Turki Alalshikh, just like Teofimo Lopez signed a 3-fight deal with Turki Alalshikh and things of that nature, right? But Turki Alalshikh is only going to pay for fights that he's willing to pay for. It got to be a high-profile caliber championship or high-caliber fighter, right? That's the reason why I know that Turki Alalshikh would love to see Keyshawn versus Haney, because he would have loved to see a Keyshawn versus Teo. See, Eddie Hearn said the other day, I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, that he don't know that Turki Alalshikh wants that Crocker versus Devin Haney, a unification bout, in which, yeah, unification, but let's be real, let's be honest. I mean, who's Crocker? Come on. We don't know who Crocker is, and we know that Devin Haney will wipe the floor with Crocker. Anyway, and Turki Alalshikh knows that I'm not willing to pay for that fight. Yeah, I'm giving you $10 to $12 million recorded, right? That's what's been out there, right? I'm not gonna give you no $10 million to fight Crocker, but I will give you $10 million, $12 million, this must be the the third fight, maybe 12 to 13, $14 million to fight Keyshawn Davis. I will, because I was willing to give Keyshawn Davis that type of money, or give Teofimo that type of money to fight Keyshawn Davis. Again, Turki Alalshikh is only going to pay money to Devin Haney if he fights the type of fighter that qualifies for him to pay him that type of money. Now, put it this way: Bill Haney, a masterful, genius marketer and advertiser to his son, right? He is good to mention a lot of names so it could hit the algorithm, and then he could present this fight like, yo, Turkey, you know what I'm saying? Look, a lot of people want to see that Crocker fight. It's the reason why he mentioned Gervonta Davis, because he found out, in my opinion, because I may know certain things in the sport of boxing, he found out that, you know what, Turki Alalshikh is not willing to pay Devin Haney the type of money that Devin Haney and Bill Haney wants for Crocker, and Turki Alalshikh is not willing to pay for that. But that's the reason why they mentioned Gervonta Davis. If you want their money, bring something to the table, Bill Haney. Do not hustle me, all right? Don't hustle me. Don't be greedy. Boom. Bill Haney. Damn, man. Hey, yo, Dev. Only way we're going to get this $15 million or $12 to $15 million, man, we got to bring something that he wants. Bring Gervonta Davis to the table. Bring him to the table, Bill. All right? He called out Gervonta Davis out of nowhere. That's what it was. In my knowledgeable opinion, that's what it was. So, yes. That's the reason why Gervonta Davis came to the table. They found out that Crocker is not a fight that Turkey's willing to pay, but Keyshawn Davis is a fight that Devin Haney should entertain if he wants to get paid, because Turki Alalshikh respects Keyshawn Davis. And if y'all could call out Gervonta Davis and he's 135, call out Keyshawn Davis, that's a big 135 and ready to move up and stuff like that, and was a champion. Remember, when he became a world champion, we was talking about just as much Davis versus Davis than Davis versus Shakur, right? Shakur gonna be fighting Teofimo Lopez. That's the reason why Teofimo Lopez is getting paid, because he's fighting that high caliber fighter that they signed for. So Turki Alalshikh is willing to pay that type of money. The reason why they pivoted and said around that time, all right, Teo, what about Devin Haney, right? But he wasn't going to get paid the $11 million. That's why Teofimo Lopez was mad. Now Teofimo Lopez is getting 8 figures, and now he got Shakur Stevenson. Yes, I'll fight whoever. Just give me the type of money that we make that deal from. For Bill Haney, the same way. And Devin Haney. We need to bring somebody to the table that Turki Alalshikh is willing to pay for, and he's going to give her the money that we already signed for. But if it's going to be Crocker, he ain't going to give her that type of money. Let's pivot. Let's call Gervonta Davis. Davis ain't saying nothing. All right, now Keyshawn Davis is calling y'all out, and that's a fight that I'm willing to pay for. Is Devin Haney ready for Keyshawn Davis? Devin Haney is highly accomplished. I think that Devin Haney will take that fight. I think that if he's Debo, he will take that fight, of course. And Keyshawn Davis will take that fight, because I think he needs this more than ever right now, where his career and where Top Rank is at. He needs this fight. It makes sense for both of them. Let me know what y'all think. This is Punch on Boxing, aka Mr. Moonshine himself. Love you, God bless, and on to the next.